you know what's happening. You read the title of the video. Let's read for 24 hours. Okay, so the time is currently 5:48 in the evening, and I'm planning to start reading at 6 p.m. It's going to be like 24 hours like in a row. It's not going to be like stopping and starting the timer depending on if I'm reading or not, but hopefully for the majority of the next day I am going to be reading. So yeah, let's pick our TBR. I definitely want to read at least one book from my May TBR just so that we can start May off on the right foot, and I have those books with me here. Some options. So here are the books from my May TBR that I think I'd be able to read in 24 hours. I don't mean all together, I mean each. So the one I'm definitely hoping to pick up this readathon is Kim Jiyoung, Born 1982 by Cho Nam-ju, mostly because it is the shortest one. I don't actually know how many pages it is. It's under 200 pages, so I feel like this is the perfect book for a readathon. And yeah, I've been really in the mood for this recently, so I think this is definitely going on my TBR. I feel like if I was to read any of the others, this one, it would be great to read a thriller because I know that that would keep me up at night and keep me reading, but it's over 340 pages and it's also really tiny text, so I don't know if that's the most strategic thing. It could work in my favour, it could not. Then we got Sunburn, which is one that I kind of wanted to pick up this weekend, one that I wanted to read sooner than the others, and if it's sunny tomorrow I definitely think I could take this to the park and try and read as much of it as possible in the sun. That would be so nice, but I don't know what the weather's like tomorrow, and I feel like this just screams summer read to me. If it's not summer and it doesn't feel like summer, then I don't know if I should pick it up. And then this one actually seems a bit long as well. Oh, it's under 300 pages, and also I think it might have a mystery in it, so this one I'm not sure. I want to read it in a 24-hour readathon, so I might take this one off the table. And then also to throw in the mix, I've got the new Julia Armfield in my hands, Private Rights. This is coming out next month, so it'd be great to read it before the release date and let you guys know all my thoughts on this one. I know that it's like highly anticipated for a lot of us. So that is my loose TBR. I've got so many books on my bookshelf that I could also pick up. I think I'm just going to mood read this one. But yeah, like I said, I'd love to read something off of my TBR, so I think I'm going to start this readathon off with Kim Jiyoung, and I really hope that I like this. I really hope it lives up to my expectations. I'm going to start this at 6 o'clock and I will keep you guys updated and let you know my initial thoughts once I get a little bit into this one. Hi guys, so as you saw, it is over an hour into the readathon now and I am on page 37, so a bit of a slow start, but now that I'm into it, it's actually like really picking up the pace. So yeah, made a decent sized dent into this book. So Jiyoung is a housewife and mother during present day, so it is, I think this starts in 2015, so it's kind of showing like present day, I guess, when the author wrote this book, and her life now. And what's really odd about it is that she kind of takes on the personalities, like someone's possessing her, of some of the women that have been in her life, whether that be her mother or a random friend from university. It's very odd. Even her child, at some point, she kind of like turns into this infant who like sucks her thumb and naps, and I don't know, it's all very strange. So that's kind of where you start, but it doesn't linger there very long, so it then goes straight back to her childhood. So it kind of explains when she was born, the order of her birth, like she has an older sister, she's a middle sister, and then she has a younger brother, and how her brother is treated in comparison to her and her older sister, and how her parents just really desperately wanted a son, and that came from the pressure of her father's mother, her grandmother as well. So it's all of this generational, like societal attitudes towards gender. It's just really fascinating so far. Actually, it took me a little while to like get into it because of all the names and just like the way that it's written. It's very matter of fact. It actually has some you can see on this page footnotes includes like a bunch of studies and articles, which just makes it obviously much more based in like reality and fact, because this book is supposed to be addressing sexism in Korea. So yeah, so far a really interesting read. I'm up to the bit where Jiyoung is currently at primary school. A lot of what's going on in the book is to do with how the boys in her class are treated compared to the girls, and even down to lunches and like order and who gets elected to be like a class monitor. It's all just like based on misogyny and favouring boys over girls. I think this quote summarises what I'm reading at the moment quite well. Number 1 on the roster was a boy. Everything began with the boys, and that felt like the right natural thing. Boys lined up first, boys led every procession no matter where they were headed. Boys gave their presentations first, and boys had their homework checked first, while the girls quietly waited their turn, bored, sometimes relieved that they weren't going first, but never thinking this was a strange practice. Just as we never question why men's national registry numbers begin with a 1 and women's begin with a 2. I feel like I'm learning so much already about Korean culture through this book, which is so cool. So I'm so excited to keep reading this. I am very soon gonna have some dinner. I'm gonna make myself some nachos, because that was like always what I crave during these readathons. It's like a staple at this point. So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading until I have my dinner, and I'll update you guys when I make some more progress. Hello guys, just a quick update from me. It is nearly 9:30, so we are nearly 3.5 hours into this readathon, and I've got less than 50 pages left of this book. So I am now on page 114, and there's I think only 162 pages. So yeah, I'm up to the marriage chapter, or the marriage section. There are only like 5 chapters in this book, and like each represents a stage of her life, and then I think all leading up to 2015, and then I think it ends on 2016. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to see like where this is all kind of like leading up to, and like where it's going to culminate. I'm still interested to know like why she was doing the things that she was at the beginning. The last section that I read felt the longest, and it was like young adult life. It was Jiyoung at university, and then going into the early stages of her working life and career, and like trying to get a job, like her first boyfriend, her second boyfriend, yeah, the world of work, and how employers treat their employees from before they even start, like how many women get opportunities in workplaces, then how they're treated once they're there, how much they get paid, the gender pay gap in Korea, which is like way worse than I knew about, and then stuff like maternity leave, and like who gets offered promotions, and like work on projects based on how long a company or employer thinks they'll be able to work for. So the men in this book are getting opportunities over Jiyoung and other women because their employer and like the manager of the business is concerned that they're going to get married, they're going to get pregnant, have kids, and have to go on maternity leave, have to leave because of childcare reasons and stuff like that. So they think it's like a poor investment to promote a woman or put a woman on a long-term project. So yeah, it's like so infuriating to read, even though it's from the point of view of a woman in Korea and it's very much about Korea. It is also so damn relatable, like a lot of these issues are prevalent in the UK as well. They're still there, they're still present, and yeah, it's just really actually cathartic to read through this book. And I just really enjoy the main character and how she isn't like passive. She has emotions, and she like very much shares those emotions with the reader, and sometimes the people around her as well. I love Jiyoung's mother as well. I think it's really cool to read about a woman who, yes, fits into like the mold of women of that generation, but she also pushes back and like really uplifts her children, like her girls. So yeah, even though this is like obviously a lot of it feels like doom and gloom, it's also really empowering. And yeah, I love that. This book is actually a 5-star prediction of mine, only because of how much I've heard about it and how hyped it is. And like I was just very aware of that going into it, but in the back of my mind I was still thinking, you know what, you might not like the writing style or it might not connect to you personally. I thought it might be like a tough read or just like hard to get into, but I had literally nothing to worry about. Like, I'm loving this. It very much feels like 4 or 5 stars depending on how it wraps up. So yeah, I'm going to continue reading this now. I don't know what time I'll finish. I'm thinking it might take me another hour, and then I do want to shower tonight before I go to bed. But yeah, I'm going to keep reading as late as possible. I am going to sleep, but I'm going to try and stay up, get well into my second read, whatever it may be, before going to sleep. So yeah, I'm going to go and I will update you guys once I finish this book. Okay, hi guys, I have showered. I need to be quiet because it's just gone midnight. We're exactly 6 hours into the readathon now. I finished Kim Jiyoung, I think just before 11 o'clock, which is a bit later than predicted, but I think I started getting a bit sleepy and not reading as fast, to be honest. I was a little bit disappointed when it actually came to the final chapter, but by the time I finished it, I completely understood why the author chose to do it that way. I thought it was actually super clever, almost genius idea to do it from that sort of person's point of view, and just the last paragraph left me reeling. So I'm a little bit confused as to how to rate this, and I think it is a sort of book that I just need to sit with for more than an hour before I give it a rating. Like, I don't want to be slapdash about it. But most of my reading experience with this, I was absolutely in awe of how this author kind of blended fact within fiction. And actually, I wrote down a note because I knew I'd forget what to say. As I read more and more footnotes popping up, I realised that I don't think they're just there to ground the story in reality, but also because despite it being obvious to most women, a lot of these plain facts of a woman's life wouldn't necessarily be believed or taken seriously without this statistical proof. So yeah, that's kind of like the main thought that I had every single time a footnote appeared. Like, the more I saw within the book, the more I was like, actually, I don't think this is just some fun thing that the author put in there. Like, I think this was very intentional. Okay, apologies, my camera died right after I read my note on my phone. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave my thoughts on Kim Jiyoung there. I will, after the 24-hour readathon is over and I do my wrap up, give you my rating, because hopefully I'll have like a rating in my head by tomorrow evening. So yeah, let's move on to what I'm gonna read next, because like I said, it's just past midnight now and I need to get a move on and start my next book before I get too tired. I think we're gonna go with another book off of my May TBR and start Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howard. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually kind of nervous about this book. Like, I don't know what about it intimidates me. Maybe because I've heard very high praise from a couple of my friends. It's another one where I just feel like I have high expectations for it, and that makes me nervous. All I know is what I said in my May TBR video, which is that it's set in Ireland in the 1990s in a small village called Crossmore, and it's about this young teenager, Lucy, who is basically discovering her sexuality and realizes that she might be attracted to girls, but how much she struggles with that within this small town setting where it feels really constricted and conservative. It seems like it's set over one summer, so this is kind of kicking off my summer of reading. I also think I might download the audiobook for this so I can listen to it once my eyes get too tired, because I feel like that is going to be the case tonight. I already feel a little bit sleepy. It is now 20 past midnight because I was charging my freaking camera battery and deciding which book to read, but now I've decided I think my objective is to read until like at least 1 AM, and then if I feel like super tired by then, I'll let myself stop reading this physically and go up to bed and listen to the audiobook until I fall asleep. And yeah, we'll see how far I get into this book. Hopefully this is another quick read. I'm really excited. Wish me luck. Good morning everybody. It is now 11:30. I have been reading basically since I woke up at, I think it was 7:45. I don't know what page I got up to last night. I don't think I got very far in. Then I listened to another chapter using the audiobook, and this morning I've got up to chapter 10 and I just listened to the audiobook quickly while I was getting ready for the day. We are 17.5 hours in now, so time is definitely slipping away from me, and I am on page 134 of Sunburn. I have been flitting back and forth between reading the physical book and listening to the audiobook. I've only listened to a couple of chapters using the audiobook though, because I have so enjoyed the writing in this one that I do really like reading it physically. The setting in this is one of the best parts. Crossmore is so vivid, the writing is so beautiful, the way it describes the setting and teenagehood, like it actually captures it so perfectly, kind of awkwardly as well. Like it is so realistic, and so much has happened in here that have reminded me of things that I completely forgot about when I was a teenager. Like when someone from another friendship group would come over to you and say, so and so is looking for you, so and so wants to talk to you. I don't know, it just brought back so many memories of being a teenager and how like awkward it is. I would say that I've suppressed or buried deep the majority of my teenage memories because it is so cringeworthy, but this has brought it all screaming back. It makes me feel super nostalgic for that time, and because this is set in the 90s, I feel like it has that feeling of nostalgia running through it, to a time you'd go home from school and the only way to contact your friends would be to call them up. And in this book, Lucy and Susanna write letters to each other, and that's their form of communication at the beginning. And even when they begin to kind of enter into something more romantic, they continue writing these letters, I think, to be able to voice the feelings that they find difficult to say out loud, which is so freaking endearing. I'm not going to say any more than that because I really don't want to spoil it if any of you pick this up. The writing is probably the best part. Like it is so quotable and so relatable and beautiful, the way that she describes feelings of like lust and love and like longing. Like that's probably the best part. I feel like I took photos of so many quotes that I might actually share on Instagram. I'm gonna read you this whole paragraph because it is so beautiful, and I feel like it's gonna convince you to want to read this book. All of autumn and into winter and now spring, I have been far too deep in Susanna and her wonderful mouth. A year wasted on watching her. The long light of March is so welcome, I must clean myself in it. I must move on from this. Am I wrong to notice all the things that set her apart from the rest of us? She is better, nicer, prettier, just miles ahead. There's no trespass. It's just a year of watching and observing and waiting for the next thing that will make me crumble. These are times when it becomes so much that I can't stand to be around her, but there is something in her attitude that I'm drawn to. Perhaps it is the way that she hardly notices my admiration, or the way that she can bully me or be my best friend and I can hardly tell the difference. Perhaps it is her moods, the glows and shadows of them, as though her heart is made of the changing sky. It's humiliating to wonder if I have ever meant the same things to her as she does to me. It's just so good. It's so good. I feel like I should have been annotating this book, but instead I'm just taking pictures because I am so scared to annotate any of my books anymore, just in case it's something that I don't want to keep in the future, which is so stupid. Oh, the writing in this is just beautiful. She makes me feel molten. I also feel like we're starting to explore mother-daughter relationships in this one as well. There's like two kind of distinct mother-daughter relationships within this. There's the relationship between Lucy and her mother, which I feel like is less central, but I think only because there is a bit of distance between them and more of a lack of a relationship or a close relationship. And then there's this volatile relationship between Susanna and her mother, and what Susanna does to get her mother's attention. So yeah, I think that's going to be explored even deeper, and I'm really excited to read the rest of the book to find out what might happen when they're discovered and how the parents are going to react, how the friends are going to react. Oh my gosh. It's also been so fun to read about this female friendship group, just like a group of teenage girls being friends, and the drama and kind of like the bickering and low-key bullying, but also like how close they are and how like on top of the world they feel. It's just such a good feeling reading this book. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, I would say I'm around halfway through now, maybe just a tad under halfway through. I feel like I need to get a move on, otherwise I won't be able to read anything else during this readathon, although I probably wouldn't be disappointed by that because this is so good. Kim Jiyoung was so good. I feel like this is a success either way. But yeah, I'm gonna leave my thoughts at that for now and go get settled down again and continue reading this amazing book. Also, let me state for the record that Jamshed has just started the Poppy War this morning and he's read the first chapter. Look at him. I'm so excited. Like, he does sometimes take my recommendations, but he doesn't always like them, and he seems to be liking this a lot so far, so fingers crossed. Hi everyone, I have now finished Sunburn. So I went out and listened to the audiobook while I went to the shops, and then I came back and finished it, and wow. Still very much digesting this, to be honest. Like, I literally put it down like less than 20 minutes ago. I vlogged it on my Goodreads along with Jiyoung, but I haven't rated either of them because I'm still like not really sure, although they're so different. It's hard to compare and like give ratings in that way and like read them within such close proximity to one another, but I feel like they're both sitting on like just below 5 stars for me. I don't know what it is, but they're both absolutely amazing reads. Like, this is such a gorgeous read. I don't fully know yet if I'm feeling the 5 stars for either of them, but they're definitely absolutely brilliant, and like I highly recommend both of them. We've still got just over an hour of the readathon left, so I'm not going to talk for that long so we can get on to my next read. When I hear novels describe it as a gut punch, this is what is forever going to come to mind from now on, because how can I say anything without spoiling it? Anyway, it was a lot, it was emotional, it was a little bit of a roller coaster towards the end. Honestly, I have no clue where this was going to end up because it toyed with me so much. I really thought that this is one of the most romantic books that I've ever read. I think I can say that safely. It is a stunning romance, and although I didn't love the change of the setting at the end and like a lot of the things that came with it, like obviously that was completely necessary to conclude this story properly. So yeah, I'm not mad about it, but I do just love the setting of Crossmoor so much. It really captured that small town atmosphere and just the characters. Like, I think these are some of the best characters I've read. Haven't committed to a rating. I'm gonna leave this one in my brain for a little bit. I'm sure it will just like live there for a while. I thought I'd mention, because I showed this earlier, my reading journal. I got this last year, but like I didn't really use it because I wasn't reading that much last year. But now with this readathon, I've just felt like newly inspired to pick it up and start writing down my thoughts. So I did a whole spread for Jiyoung, 2 spreads. It takes you through your rating and when you read it, where you got the book even, a summary about the book, favourite quotes, would you read it again, would you recommend it, and like you can like write a little bit of why or why not, and then it goes through your first impressions, final thoughts, and then key takeaways from your reading experience. And then you can have a whole page for extra notes, so I guess that would be good if you're reading a book and taking the notes alongside it. I think that would be a great thing to do. I need to fill out the next spread for Sunburn, but I think I'll do it after the readathon's over so I don't waste any more time. But yeah, I'm really excited to fill that out so that I can like keep my thoughts all in one place and be able to do like monthly wrap-ups if you guys are interested in that, if I read enough books to even film those sorts of videos. But yeah, we're on track. I've read now, or finished, 3 books in May so far, and I'm gonna go on to my 4th. I kind of am debating between starting another novel or picking up something like a manga or a poetry collection or short story collection, just something that I know that I could read quite a bit of or finish within the next hour. And also I don't know if I want to dive straight into another book, just because Sunburn was so intense and I feel like I need to just let it sit, and sometimes it's not a good thing to like dive straight into another book. I just don't even think I'm awake enough. Like, I'm so tired at this point. I don't think I am alert enough to like dive into another book right now. I think I already know what I'm going to pick, and I think if you guys were around last year you probably know what I'm going to pick as well. I've got an read volume of The Girl from the Other Side, so I think I'm going to read this. They are never in the shop, so I've kind of been putting this off because I've been saving it. I feel like there's no better time to read it than right now. If I do end up finishing this and I've got loads of time to spare, because sometimes this takes me like 20 minutes, there is this manga that I got ages ago that I haven't got into yet, and it looks so cute. It's called Beyond the Clouds, The Girl Who Fell from the Sky. This is definitely my second option if I finish this one. I feel like I'm in this cute mood, this whimsical mood, like Studio Ghibli vibes. I'm gonna get started on this one and I will update you guys once I'm finished, and maybe once the readathon's over. I did in fact finish The Girl from the Other Side volume 6, and I'm giving this 4 stars because I loved it. It was a great continuation of the series. I need to figure out how to get my hands on the rest because I do want to continue reading this, even though I'm on a book buying ban. If I do see one of these in the bookshop, I'll probably break the ban just for these. This was really cute. I think I filmed a couple of clips of some of the artwork. Like, I adore this series and it's my favorite manga. Just super cute, really enjoyed it, 4 stars. So of course these are the other 2 books that I finished this readathon: Kim Ji-young, born 1982, and Sunburn. I feel like fate was on my side because they were both absolute bangers. Kim Ji-young I'm giving 4.5 stars. I don't know what to give it on Goodreads, whether to give it 5 stars, like round it up, or give it 4 stars. It's definitely a solid 9 out of 10 basically. It's not a book that I'm gonna like treasure forever and it'd be like one of my absolute favorites of all time, but it was so impactful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so interesting, so insightful, really knowledgeable. I learnt so much from it. Like, there are so many facts and statistics in this book, and it was packaged really nicely as well, with like this story of this one woman to make it super relatable. I actually couldn't recommend this enough. If I think about it for longer, then I might give it 5 stars. I would really love to talk to someone about this who's actually read it, because there is so much to unpack in this book. I feel like it would be an incredible book club book just because there are so many themes in it. Like, literally every single facet of being a woman, I think especially in Korea, is explored within this book, like 100% unpacked. To be honest with you, that's a bit of a bold statement. Obviously there are things that happen in the world that aren't in this book, but I just think it literally took advantage of every single life stage that Jiyoung went through. It's such a short book. It was so quick to read, and yet it was just filled to the brim with every single thing that was important. It did not waste a single page. Every single page was interesting in its own right. I feel like I just convinced myself to give this 5 stars. But anyway, recommend. I'm not going to go over this one too much because you guys just heard my thought. One of the best love stories I've ever read. And again, like Kim Ji-young, might not be forever like a favorite or top tier read for me, like my favorite book ever, but it was absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad that I read this. Thank you, Ross, for the recommendation. And now I have crossed 2 books off of my May TBR, which is incredible. We're only on the 6th of May now. Already crossed 2 books off my TBR. Take my word for it that that is incredibly new for me. I have been so bad in the past at sticking to TBR. I guess I'm a changed woman, I'm not sure. So that concludes the end of this readathon and this video. I'm enjoying getting back into filming so much, so you'll definitely see me again soon. But until then, I hope you're having the best day, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.